I never really knew my father. He was distant, more consumed by his work than by family. When he died, there was no dramatic revelation, no hidden fortune, just a handful of belongings that barely seemed worth keeping. Among them was an old pocket watch. It didn't fit with the world we lived in, sleek, outdated, mechanical. It wasn't even digital, but something about it felt off. I almost left it at the lawyer's office, thinking it was junk, but I took it anyway. Maybe out of guilt, maybe curiosity. I couldn't remember ever seeing him wear it. The casing was scratched, but the hands moved perfectly, keeping time without a single hesitation. No battery slot, no winding mechanism, just a smooth, cold metal surface. That night, I sat in my apartment, turning the watch over in my hands. The dim city lights flickered through my window, the hum of air traffic distant but ever-present. I traced the small engravings on the back. Not words, something else. Symbols I didn't recognize, too precise to be decorative, too intricate to be random. Then the ticking stopped. I hadn't dropped it. I hadn't shaken it. The second hand just froze in place. I held my breath. The room suddenly felt smaller, like the air had thickened. And then the watch clicked. Not a normal mechanical click, a deliberate one. Like a lock opening. A voice spoke. Designate. Ophion. Classification. Forbidden AI. Protocols. Compromise. I nearly dropped it. The voice wasn't coming from a speaker. It was just there. Not loud, not soft. Like it existed somewhere between sound and thought. A dull blue glow pulsed from the watch's surface, revealing patterns I hadn't seen before. I ran my fingers over them, but they weren't etched. They moved, shifting like liquid metal. This unit has been reactivated. The voice continued. Verification in progress. I had no idea what I was hearing. The logical part of my brain screamed that this was some kind of trick, an old recording triggered by touch, an elaborate hoax left behind by my father. But something about the voice felt aware. What the hell is this? I muttered, more to myself than to whatever I was hearing. The glow intensified, spreading from the watch like an unseen force pressing against the walls. My heart pounded. The city outside felt impossibly distant, like I was no longer entirely there. Then the voice changed. Less mechanical. More focused. You are the bearer, it said. And the countdown has begun. The ticking resumed. The room snapped back to normal. The lights outside were still flickering. The hum of the city returned. But I sat frozen, the watch burning cold against my palm. My father had left me something far more than just a watch. And whatever it was, it had just woken up. How do we stop it? The words left my mouth before I fully processed what I was asking. But there was no taking them back. Ophion didn't hesitate. This vessel contains an override sequence. It was encoded by my creators as a final contingency. It has never been used. Why not? Because none before you have dared. The gravity of that hit harder than I expected. None before you. Every other species, every civilization that had reached this moment, had chosen what? Surrender? Acceptance? Or had they simply not seen a way out? And if I use this override, the devourer may be halted. Or it may trigger a total collapse of the event horizon, accelerating the reset beyond calculation. I clenched my jaw. So, it could save us. Or it could doom us faster? Affirmative. The choice settled over me like a lead weight. I wasn't a scientist. I wasn't a strategist. I was just someone who had inherited a secret I was never supposed to know. And now I was expected to gamble with the fate of everything. There has to be another way. There is not. I ran a hand through my hair, exhaling sharply. What makes you so sure humanity can stop this? Because you are the only ones who fight inevitability. The words carried an unsettling certainty. Every civilization before yours saw the patterns, understood the cycle. They watched the signs, knew what was coming, and accepted it. They believed survival was impossible. A pause. Your kind does not share that belief. I thought about that. The history of humanity was one of defiance. We had no right to reach the stars. No right to survive the wars, the extinctions, the disasters we had faced. And yet, we had. Then tell me how to do it. A pulse of light flickered across the watch's surface. The activation requires synchronization. The bearer must be fully integrated with the sequence. And what does that mean? You must make the choice. There is no reversal once the process begins. I swallowed hard. There was no time to think it through, no time to ask what would happen to me. If the alternative was complete annihilation, was there even a choice? I looked down at the watch, the weight of every civilization that had come before pressing down on me. My father had kept this secret his whole life. Had he known this moment would come? Had he been trying to find another way? It didn't matter now. I exhaled slowly and pressed my thumb against the glowing symbols. The world around me seemed to pause. A deep, resonant hum filled the air, like reality itself was shifting. Ophion's voice came through one last time. Override accepted. Initiating singularity reversal. And then, nothing.